You know what's coming. We got a new coach, so he's got to sound really good. Can I get an Aggie, right? Aggie, right? Excellent, excellent. We're excited about being here today to introduce to you our new head football coach. He will be the 22nd head football coach in North Carolina A&T history, and he will enter us into the Colonial Athletic Association era of North Carolina A&T football. Here to introduce him will be our athletics director, Mr. Earl Hilton. And after Mr. Earl Hilton speaks, we'll hear from Coach Brown, and then we will start our Q&A. So without further ado, Mr. Earl Hilton.
Thank you, Brian, and good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. Wonderful to see you all here and to be part of this historic occasion. You know, I preach to my coaches that when we're looking for student athletes, I want you to go get the people that we need. Don't wait for them to fall in our lap. Do your homework and go get the people that you need. So when this opportunity to select a new head coach for A&T presented itself, I had done a little bit of research and homework, and I made one phone call because I knew that there was one man who had the experiences, the integrity, the character, the relationships, the leadership, and the vision that we needed in order to move successfully into the Colonial Athletic Association as a football program. What I didn't know is if he was interested in working at A&T. And so I called Coach Brown. I think I emailed him first or texted him first to see if I could visit with him. And we talked on a Monday evening, and he made me aware that he would be interested in having a conversation. And so over the course of the next several weeks, we corresponded, went through a process of evaluation and conversation to determine if indeed what I thought I saw from a distance was in fact real and substantive. And in my unguarded opinion, it is. Coach Brown is a man, indeed, who, as I suggested earlier, checks a lot of boxes for us. HBCU graduate, played at the highest levels in our country in professional football. He's coached at FBS and FCS levels. His experience in the Colonial Athletic Association, participated in a national championship in the FCS level. And as you all know, William and Mary had an outstanding year this year. He's a defensive coordinator for that unit. Turned him around over the course of 4 years and put him in a place where they made it to the quarterfinals of the FCS championships this year. I'm delighted to put our program, and perhaps more importantly, the lives of our young men, those that are here and those that are yet to come, that don't know they're going to be Aggies, into the hands of Coach Vincent Brown, who is the next head football coach at A&T. Coach Brown, join me at the stand, please. Thank you. Coach, thank you. Sure.
Got a big head, but sir, thank you so much. Wow, what a tremendous honor, tremendous blessing. I am extremely humbled to be at the North Carolina A&T State University. Yes, sir. I want to begin by expressing my extreme gratitude and thanks to Chancellor Martin and Athletic Director Hilton for believing in me, giving me an opportunity to impact these young men's lives. I will be unwavering in our push towards excellence on and off the field. I would be remiss if I didn't thank my lovely wife, Chandra, and my kids for your unconditional love and support. I know firsthand that there's something truly special about the HBCU experience. The nurturing, the love, the support, the game day
atmosphere, especially homecoming, okay? That is something that is not found at PWIs. To be part of this family, this great university, the #1 HBCU in the land, it is a truly special opportunity. I want to thank all the coaches that have served and helped mentor me along the way. Coach Bill Parcells, Coach Al Groh, Coach Archie Cooley from my college days, Coach Johnny Ripsaw Thomas from my college days. I want to thank the student athletes that I've been fortunate enough to encounter over the years. So many of you have been blessings in my life. Thank you to the Aggie alums that have reached out with their support. I truly do appreciate it. I want to pay homage to the great coaches, head coaches that came before me, that have laid a foundation of expecting to win. We will need your help along the way, but we will take that foundation and build towards excellence. I truly believe that being called coach is one of the most noble professions one can have, for it truly allows me to impact the lives of a young person every single day. We will be purposeful and passionate in everything that we do. We will help guide these young men into what it takes to strive for excellence in the classroom, in the community, and on the football field. We will always put their health and safety at the top of the list, and their overall development is #1. We will help them understand that it is an honor and a privilege to represent this university and the Aggie brand, but also to understand that your identity is not tied to a jersey number on the back of your jersey, okay? We will coach them to let them know they're going to be a husband, a father, a son, a mentor, far longer than they will be a student athlete, okay? To the parents and the players, know that you're going to get our very best efforts. Every single day, mutual respect is at the core of what we do. Coach to player, player to coach, and player to player. Our program is built around 4 central pillars: intellectual, social, physical, and skill development. Intellectual development because it's in your best interest to become an educated man, to become a productive member of society, and maybe even impact society the way 4 freshmen did from right here at North Carolina A&T, okay? Your social development, so that you're prepared for the challenges, the different settings, and the opportunities that life will throw your way. Your physical development, a critical component to becoming elite, is eating the right way, training the right way, understanding that what you put in your body impacts you. And lastly, but most importantly, your skill development, understanding that football is a game of fundamentals, discipline, and situations. Fundamental, discipline, and situations. When you master these, you make yourself a very hard to beat team. To the parents of the recruits and our players, understand the climate has changed with the transfer portal and name, image, and likeness, okay? But to the players and the recruits, just know that whether you have 6 pairs of cleats, 4 warm-up suits, or maybe a university even providing you a few $1,000s, that is short-term money. It is not going to impact your life one iota in the long run. It is about the name and brand on the back of your jersey, developing your personal brand, and making sure that people understand that your personal brand is not for sale, cannot be for sale. We want to make sure that we're recruiting the right kind of young men that will value a degree from the #1 HBCU in the land, that will take that educational experience and go out and do great things. Our goal will be simple: to be elite, to not be good, but to be elite in the classroom, in the community, and on the field. And in closing, for the players, we want to build a physically and mentally tough team that plays with discipline, purpose, passion, and Aggie pride.
Okay, we're going to start our Q&A session here. All three of these gentlemen will be available for questions. Just raise your hand and we'll try to make sure that we get you the microphone since we're streaming live here so that everyone can hear your question. If you could, just give us your name and your organization. Coach Brown is new to us, so we want him to get to know you as our media. If we have some time, we may have some questions for some of our alumni to be able to ask. All three of these gentlemen will also be available for one-on-ones after the press conference. Questions?
Coach Brown, Skip Foreman with the News and Record. You come here post-recruiting period and having lost a valuable running back and one of your prime defenders. So your work is already started. Where are you in the recruiting phase and what you hope to accomplish under the circumstances that you're basically just starting today?
Yes, sir. So we are always recruiting. I've been evaluating players since before this was officially announced. I understand what our needs are. I saw the kids that were signed in the early signing period, some really talented players. I will convene with the staff, the existing staff. We'll talk about our remaining needs, and we'll go out and find the very best players to complement what we've already lost.
Smart Marsh of BlueJackEye.com. Speaking of staff, you had a chance to sit down and think about the makeup of your new staff. Will you bring in people from William & Mary, and do you plan on retaining anyone from the current coach staff?
So the business of football can be very challenging, and I am certainly cognizant of the impact that it has on coaches' lives and their families. But my charge is to build an elite program, and we will put the staff together in the best way possible to achieve that goal. It may mean retaining some of the existing staff members. It may mean bringing in outside staff members, but we're going to make sure that we put the development of the student athletes as our highest priority in comprising and composing our staff.
Quick follow-up, do you have a timetable when you want to have that complete?
Yesterday.
Yeah, in an ideal world, yeah, sooner rather than later, but it is more important to get the right mix of men, mentors, and teachers than to rush to assemble a staff.
This is Luke Williams from the Black College Sports page. Welcome, Coach Brown. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, my question is for Earl Hilton as well as for Chancellor Martin. A&T had a coach, previous coach Sam Washington, won a couple of Celebration Bowls, went to the last game with a chance to go to the playoffs this year. It's the first chance I've had a chance to talk to you about this, Mr. Hilton or Chancellor Martin. What exactly went into the decision to move in another direction? Was there any specific thing? What was involved in that?
You're probably going to be disappointed in my answer, Lou, because we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about that. This is Coach Brown's day. But I will say that questions about alignment factored, alignment of vision and perspective factored into that decision.
That's a good answer. I'll take that. Chancellor Martin, did you have any input as it relates to this kind of decision? Like, I know you did, but agree to what you did.
Earl and I talked extensively about all athletics on a regular basis. There are probably no weeks that go by where we aren't having a conversation about areas of opportunity for continued growth and alignment, competitiveness, areas where we need to make more investments. And that's no different post this football season, where we spoke multiple times every week following the end of the football season. And so there's a significant level of conversation, just the two of us, talking about the future of athletics in general, football in particular. And I think Earl's response reflected the outcome of those very significant and very tough discussions that we did have following this past football season. Mm-hmm.
Stevie Gager, APC Game Day. This is for Coach. First of all, welcome. Secondly, you've been in the CAA the last couple of years. You guys have had success at William & Mary. And just talk about how ready you think the program is and how big the leap is to go into the CAA, one of the most competitive conferences in the FCS.
Yes, sir. The CAA is a tremendous league. Tremendous coaches. They allocate significant resources to recruiting very talented players. And having a chance to look at the A&T program and the talent level, I believe we'll be able to step into the conference and be extremely competitive. There are a lot of talented players in this program, a lot of talented players that I've watched compete against CAA caliber teams. So I feel very confident and comfortable that we will do our absolute best in making this transition as seamless as possible.
Smart Marsh again. Obviously, you had to do your own research before you decided to come here. What were some of the factors that made you think that this was the best job? You know, this is your first head coaching job at college level. Probably had other opportunities throughout your career. Why was A&T the right fit for you?
There are a couple of reasons. The academic reputation speaks for itself. I've been fortunate over my college coaching career to have worked at some very, very fine academic institutions. And the focus on academics here, especially in the STEM programs, was very attractive, knowing that we could get the kind of student athletes that we want to build our program around. Secondly, the football tradition and the history of success here. It's phenomenal. And third, and not lastly, is just the history of this great university and developing people to change lives. And I feel like at this point in my coaching career, I didn't want to just take a job because I wanted to be a head coach. It had to be perfect alignment from an academic perspective, from an athletics excellence perspective, and from a cultural perspective also. So.
This is Luke Williams again. I got 10 questions today. I'm only going to let me ask like one, maybe two at the moment. So this is a double-sided question. This is for you, Coach. What will a Vincent Brown team look like in terms of style of play? You like wide open? You know, you're going to be like your former coach, actually going to sling the cooler. You're going to sling it around, throw it 50 times a game, 60 times a game. That's part one. Part two is how you got the name Undertaker.
So the team will be disciplined. It will be tough. it will be focused on, as I say, eliminating the things that cause losing. And if you can eliminate the things that cause losing, your chances of winning go up exponentially. The things that cause losing: mental mistakes, turning the ball over on offense, dumb penalties on defense, poor tackling on the back end, getting the ball thrown over your head, and dumb penalties. So our plan is to build a focused, passionate team, and we'll always fit the scheme around the talent of the players that we have. If we have a dynamic quarterback and a bunch of receivers, then we'll be wide open and throw the ball around. If we got great running backs and a strong offensive line, we're going to line up and pound the rock. So I believe you have to tailor your schemes around the talent in your program and not the other way around. The second part. The second part to the question of how I got the name, local radio broadcaster, Bo Brown, when I was in college, said that when I tackled and hit people, I buried them into the ground, and hence the Undertaker stuck.
Coach Brown, Skip Foreman again. You are the latest of the NFL alumni to get a head coaching job. My first question is, what is luring former NFL players into the coaching ranks and ultimately to head coaching jobs? What has been the attraction in the recent years that's led to this trend?
Yes, sir. I can't speak for the other guys. I just think, my career has been to put my head down and learn as much as I can about coaching and developing the young men that I'm charged with coaching. And that's been a 20-plus year journey. And I never really tried to capitalize on my past career as a player. I wanted to earn my way up the ladder as a coach. And I think my appointment is a little different than some of the others because I've been doing this for 20-plus years and not just a year or two, focused on becoming the absolute best teacher I can.
And in your comments, you alluded to the fact of the cultures. You coming from William and Mary to North Carolina A&T. Can you describe to a degree the difference or what you're about to come into? Because it's the contrast is obvious here, but to you, what does it feel like and what does it represent?
I think in both environments, people are passionate about their football programs. I just think here, that passion is elevated to another level, and that people feel really connected to the football program. They feel they're part of everything that's going on. And I think that's truly the difference between the two. You got the fans, and then you have family members that feel attached to the program.
Coach Brown, Taylor Gilbert with WFMY News 2 here in Greensboro. My question for you is done a little research, and from what I've seen from outside looking in, family is a very big part of your, everything that you're doing here. And how will you implement that into your brain here to help recruiting as well as building on what we have had the last few seasons?
Yes, sir. So I've been in an environment where faith, family, and then football was the highest priorities. And as I mentioned, family is very important to me, my family. And when we recruit kids, I talk about my family all the time. When we say education is at the forefront of what we're doing, I talk about my own kids, that we've tried to instill in them what it is to become educated and what that can do for you. And I think when you create an environment of openness where you tell the kids, look, I am here for you. My door is always open for you. We are here for the development of you, the student athlete, not the other way around. And I think once they understand that, it creates a bond that becomes very, very difficult to separate.
Coach, I'm David Squires. I'm on the faculty here, and I work for ESPN's and State. You mentioned HBCUs. Can you talk about A&T continuing to be a face of HBCU athletics and football, and in the context of being in the CAA, and still playing some of the former rivals from HBCUs? How that kind of fits into the plan in the future?
Yes, sir. I don't think the fact that we play football in the Colonial Athletic Association will diminish who this institution is, what the institution is all about, what the development of the student athletes in our program are all about. That's not going to change. It will never change. You don't become the number one HBCU in the land by being amenable to outside influences, to changing who you are. So I think the leadership will maintain its focus on being the number one in the country. And from our perspective, we're just trying to coach the kids to be the absolute best, to compete at an elite level in the CAA and beyond, because that's the goal, to compete for conference and national championships.
This is for actually for Earl. So, I'm sure when you guys were having your negotiations, there was probably some talk about infrastructure and facilities. Have there been any, assurances given about things that will be implemented to make the program more on the level of some of the CAA powerhouses? And my second part of that question is, where do the supporters, alumni come into play when it comes to helping push that vision forward?
Samaj, the answer to the first part of your question is yes. There have been commitments, assurances made regarding what it will take for us to become competitive, not just in football, but across all of our sports in the CAA. And that's a conversation that began long before this particular interaction occurred. Coach Brown has helped us define that, what it needs to look like immediately in terms of what we need to do from an X's and O's and from a facility and equipment and transportation standpoint. So we're going to make some of those changes immediately. The opportunity that we have to be successful in this space, as Coach Brown has suggested, is independent of our historical perspective. We will always be the number one HBCU in America, regardless of where we compete. And excellence is colorblind. And we're going to be excellent in everything that we do. And we're going to make the investments and the commitments and surround ourselves with the people that allow us to be excellent. That's the charge that I get from my boss. That's who he is. That's who we are. And we're going to continue to build, not just in football, in all of our sports. We're going to be excellent.
The second was the call to action to the fan base. Is there something
It's never wrong to write a check. You should just follow that impulse anytime you have it. And we'll be more directed in our communication with you. We've talked about this in the past. We're developing a master plan for capital improvement in athletics. It's going to be somewhere, I suspect, in the neighborhood of $80 to $100 million of what we will need to get our facilities right. We expect to have that report to the Board of Trustees by the end of January. In the next 3 weeks, we'll have some legs on that we can share and look at, and you guys can begin to see what we're talking about in terms of building and repurposing and renovating. I have not seen the final numbers on it yet. My guess is somewhere in that $80 to $100 million range of what we'll need. And it will take all of us rowing in the same direction to realize that kind of an investment.
Take a few more questions before we let these guys go.
Okay, Coach Brown, this is a follow-up kind of to what Samaj asked. The CAA got 4 teams in the FCS playoffs. The LEAC, we have 5? Okay, I wrote that wrong this week. That's even more impressive. 5 teams. What does the CAA have that the Big South or the MEAC doesn't have to get multiple teams into the playoffs?
I can't speak to the Big South. One of the things that I've seen over my time in the CAA has been that commitment to the resources, all of them, the resources needed to get the players and the resources needed to develop the players.
All right, we'll take a couple of questions from our alumni, a couple of quick questions and positive comments. So we'll start with this gentleman right here.
Thank you. Over here. Thank you. Appreciate it. And I will try and make my first of all, Coach, I want to welcome you to A&T.
Thank you.
I'm class of 81, excuse me. Class of 81. Chancellor, Athletic Director Hilton. Good to see you guys. My question is sort of piggybacking on your infrastructure, your capital outlay plan, etc. And my question is, it might be 2 or 3 questions, so just bear with me because I try to make this quick. And my apologies, I got here a little late. So I don't know what question was asked for 15, 20 minutes. My question is to the panel, not necessarily to the coach. Coach, you're coming from William & Mary. And based on my limited research, you're coming to A&T. William & Mary had the highest football budget in the CAA. Now, I'm not totally wrong, right about that maybe, but that's based on my research. And anybody can do this, you can Google this information, because that's what I did. William & Mary's football budget, $8.2 million. And Coach, this is kind of like what you were saying, community and resources, because that's where I'm going. A&T's football budget, from what I gather, anywhere from $2.6 million to $3.4 million, somewhere in that neighborhood, from what I gather. If you're talking about competing, and personally, I don't expect A&T to be a doormat. We made this commitment to the CAA, to I think, an outstanding football company, to step up from where we've been. But yeah, I want to know, what is our budget currently? Is it going to improve from that $3.4 million? And I ask this question, I don't know the full schedule. We're going to play UAB, first game, I guess that's a money game. And obviously FBS, so their budget's going to be big, more stops and more coaches, etc. But then we play North Carolina Central, and I live in Durham. And North Carolina Central spends approximately $1 million more on their football budget than anything. Our stadium is bigger. We're going to the CAA.
Please ask the question.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir. I will. We're going to the CAA, and we have good enrollment, and our enrollment in school is about from the top 5, and we're second. So as far as football attendance, and we haven't played a game in the CAA. My question is 2. 1, what is our football budget? Because I think that's important. Resources. We can talk about a lot of stuff, but when it comes down to money.
Yes, you're not wrong. 3.1 to 3.4 on one year.
And 2, when will that football budget be made available so we, the public, will know? Because I'm speaking for myself. I will bring this up again. I'm gonna be honest with you. I will bring it up again because I think if we're going to compete at the level that coach expects us to compete, then part of it has to be the funding. Now, I hope we have a great recruiting class. Coach get good coaches, know what they're doing. Because I know money that you put in a program don't necessarily mean that you're going to be a winner. If that's the case, Campbell would have won the Big South, but they spent $5.6 million on their football program. And they finished 4th place. So I get it. But I'm talking about competing at a high level year in and year out. So my question is, what is our football budget? If we don't know, when will it be available?
Right.
So I have to get through all of that to say what I have to say.
Yeah, so the budget information is publicly available every year. The commitment that I think is, that you're asking for, that I'm going to fish this out of your statement, we will make the resources available to Coach Brown that he needs to be successful in the CAA and football program. That is our commitment to him.
Well, thank everybody for coming out.
Ryan, let me respond just quickly as well. Look, we didn't make the transition to the Big South and subsequently now to the Cologne Athletics Conference without being smart enough to recognize the investments we need to continue to make. Not just in athletics. Our university has been thriving in a very aggressive way, building on the great history and traditions of this institution through growth in our academic programs, new programs, enrollment growth, excellence in our students, and the partnerships we've created to advance this institution academically. You can see that in every aspect of the institution. So athletics is a front door to our universities continuing to be highly visible, expanding our brand, enhancing our reputation, and the like. We've also recognized that we have to continue to advance the institution both from that academic perspective as a competitive doctoral research land-grant institution, from academics, research, and enhancements in what we do, to the investments in athletics. Every university we're competing with for top talent, be that students in general, top faculty, administrative leaders, and the investments in athletics, student athletes, outstanding coaches like Coach Brown, require that we make investments. When we look at the peer institutions we're competing with for top talent across the board, involve substantially enhanced relationships with the corporate sector, with foundations, and a key part of the engagement and involvement are our alumni, as they are across the board. Our alumni have to continue to be an engaged and integral part of our plans for the future. Our university, like many in the MEAC and other conferences, have relied far too long on the backs of our students through student fees and other related advancements to enhance the growth of our institution and advancement of athletics. We can no longer continue to do that, but we also cannot limit our aspirations to be the very best institution we can be by allowing our constituency, our alums, friends of the institution, and our corporate partners to be transactional relationships. You have to invest, as we're challenging our corporate partners and our foundation friends, to make very substantial investments. And it's the business aspect of running this institution in a very significant way. And that's exactly what we're doing. The commitments we've made to Coach Brown are reflective of our commitments to invest more substantially in athletics. The challenge I've given to Earl in working with our administrative team and our foundation is to advance a master plan that is very strategic and consistent with our aspirations to be the very best in athletics performance. And I love the phrase that Coach Brown is using, to be elite. We've never been a doormat wherever we've been, be it academics or athletics, and we don't plan to be so in the Cologne Athletics Conference either. But that means that we are as attentive to understanding the needs of our institution as we look to the future. And you won't have to ask those questions. We'll provide the answers to those questions because we have to be very transparent here in defining the very best that's important for us to ensure that we'll continue to be not just the #1 HBCU in the land, of which we're very proud of, but to be the most outstanding institution we can seek to be. And we can't compromise in that space as we move this institution to very strategic and significant areas of opportunity for the future. So we appreciate you all being here. It's easy to ask the tough questions. It's much more difficult to provide substantive and sustainable answers and solutions as we look to the future. So we ask you all to join us on this journey because we think it is an exciting journey for the future of this institution and the role we will play for enhancing the competitiveness of Greensboro, Guilford County, the Piedmont Tri-Region, and North Carolina and beyond. And I assure you, we are more than able and ready to meet those expectations. So thank you for joining us today.
Aggie, right? Aggie, right. Thank you for coming.